Hello, engineering fam, and welcome to another episode of Get On Code. I'm your host, the Elevated Engineer. Today, we'll be doing the final web-scraper video. The video will focus on using MechanicalSoup to search web forms for data. Also, we'll be checking websites for real-time updates. So, ready? Go. Okay, so first we need to interact with our web page. Previously, we used Beautiful Soup, but now we're going to be using MechanicalSoup because Beautiful Soup, frankly, doesn't go far enough. What do I mean? For example, you might need to submit a form or click a button to display hidden content on a website. Currently, the Python standard library doesn't provide a built-in means for working with web pages interactively, but many third-party packages are available from PyPy. Among these, I'm going to be using MechanicalSoup because it's popular and it's pretty easy to use. In essence, what MechanicalSoup does is it installs what's known as a headless browser, which is pretty much a browser without a GUI or any type of graphical interface. The browser is controlled programmatically via a Python program. MechanicalSoup works well with actually going around forms. We're going to install MechanicalSoup. Okay, so I already have it open and set to install. It's the same as before. It's going to tell me that's already installed. And then really quick, as usual, I want to show it too. This is a good habit to know that you're working with the right tools and libraries. Okay, so we got everything up and running. We have our MechanicalSoup. Next, we're going to want to create a headless object to access our web page. So first, we want to import MechanicalSoup. Then we want to create another browser object, just like we did in the previous videos. And we want to pass on browser actual method. Right? Next, we need our URL that we're going to be accessing. Of course, there's a bunch of, obviously you don't have to use a website I'm using, but mine is just for demonstration purposes, but it is really good just for this instance. And then we're going to create our page variable, and this will be our browser. This is how we will get our URL variable. And let's just see what that prints out. Should give us a code. All right, so it gave us response 200. Had it give us like a 404 or 400, 500, whatever error, that would have meant that for whatever reason we couldn't access the website. But since we got to 200, that is a good thing. So we want to see what type of object the page is. And that should be a beautiful soup object, of course. And then finally, we want to view the results of our soup from our page. That should give us our HTML with all the spaces removed. And what I want you all to really pay attention to is how the username and password information is right there, as clear as day. You can get the user login information from using Soup. Our MechanicalSoup installed. We need to, and our headless object is created. We need to import MechanicalSoup. And there's a number of different ways that I wanted to go over. But first, let's just go through it. So basically, our browser, we're gonna pass on our MechanicalSoup object and method, and let's just go ahead and pass this login information, because copy and paste that. Then we want to actually have our login page object. And that's going to be our browser. And we are going to retrieve our URL. And then we actually need the HTML for a login as well. So we will create a login HTML variable, and that will be the login soup. This instance. The second, we will actually be creating a form variable. We will be using login HTML to actually select the form as an array of objects. So HTML.select is going to be looking for the form tag. That will create an array. In the 0 space, we just want everything that's going to be in the first column. That's what the 0 in the brackets means for those that don't know. Select. Now we're going to be looking for input from 2 columns in the array. And we want to retrieve the actual value from those columns. And we're going to be looking for the word Zeus. And then for the second one, we could just go ahead and copy that. And we're going to be looking in the second column for Thunderdude. Third one, we're going to be actually looking at our profiles page. So we're going to create a profiles page variable, and we're going to use our browser. Again, we're going to be submitting a form for a login page, and we're going to be using the login page URL. Oops. Okay. And so we can see our actual URL of our profile. Just call it really quick, just so we can get some eyes on it. And as you can see, that is the URL that we were going for. So let's create a link. You're going to be looking for types of information, and there'll be times you're going to need to find specific links. So that's what we're going to be looking at, or one of the search parameters we're going to be looking at are link information. So href links, and we're going to be selecting A. Okay, and we're going to just create a little for loop to be able to cycle through and look for specific links while it's processing. So for link and links, address equals link. Like I said, href is the HTML links. You're going to be looking for specific text of the link. And then we're going to print everything inside the variable, inside the brackets. That is the text. And we're going to be printing inside the link the address. of the link. And as you can see, everything, all the links are to Aphrodite, Poseidon, and Dionysus links in the website. So really quick, we can set a base URL, and we can set that as the standard. So really quick, paste this, because this is just a different way of assigning this HTML URL object, right? And you'll find that the strength of MechanicalSoup comes from that ease of access. So all we gotta do is just the same thing. Instead of going through and having an address and just looking for the words href, which is, you know, the HTML link tag, you could just use a base URL instead. So base links for links. Let's just print this. Reuse this. We're going to change a couple of things though. We're going to change address to base URL. Concatenate base URL with the link, and there you go. With MechanicalSoup, you can see it actually prints up the actual links that you can actually click on or copy and paste or what have you. So next, we're going to check for updates on a website in real time. In order to access a web page, what we're going to do is we're going to access a web application. We're going to create an application that accesses a website, and the website will scrape the result of the page and print it to the console. So first, we don't really need to import MechanicalSoup again, but I'm going to do it just because it's good to keep everything together. Okay, so let's start with our browser. Again, same thing. Browser, MechanicalSoup. We're going to press on the browser method. We're going to call the browser method. And some of this stuff we could just, again, get from the previous variables. Where's page? Yeah, page. So we're going to use page again. We're going to create a page variable. This time we're going to actually get the Dice website. So let us do that now. Okay. And we will also be creating another tag variable. And this one will actually select our soup results and create a list of it. We'll just create a list of objects. So it should be result. And then finally, we are going to have our results. And that's actually just going to be the tag.text, which is the text that is inside of the tag. And to let us know that it's running correctly, we're going to go ahead and print everything. And the results of your roll, I put dice roll. Roll, dice roll, whatever. And it's just going to be whatever the result is. All right, so we got a dice roll. All right, but to make sure it's working, let's just make sure it should be giving us whatever random number our dice comes up with. So it's working. We got 2. Let's see what our next roll is. 4, 1. Okay, so we rolling with dice. Okay. Unfortunately, the last line of the code needs to tell Python to pause for additional 10 seconds. So Python has a built-in library called sleep, and it's also a time module. So it takes a single argument that represents the amount of time for the application to sleep, and it does so in seconds. So let's just really quick import time, print time. Let's give ourselves a message. I'm waiting for 5 seconds because we're gonna do 5-minute increments. Just to give it in, and then we're gonna tell our sleep to wait for 5 seconds, and then once it's done, we are done waiting, right? So it should. Let's go ahead and go for the next 5 seconds. All right, we see that it stops working after 5 seconds, and it prints our message, which is good. So next we want to apply this to our dice roll. So let's just go ahead and create a whole nother roll, and some stuff we're going to be using all over again. Pretty much everything we're going to be using. Okay, so we're going to be using our browser again, and import time. We're going to be using. Okay, we're going to this time instead actually have a for loop. So once we create a browser object, we're going to for loop. And we're gonna give it in a range of 4. So we're gonna have 4 dice rolls, and our page is still gonna stay the same. Our tag is still gonna stay the same. Our result is still gonna stay the same. Pretty much everything is gonna stay the same. Let's eliminate this space. The only thing we're adding is time dot sleep, and this time we're gonna do it for, I don't want to do it for too long, so let's just say 3 seconds each. So it should be a random dice roll every 3 seconds, and should it be 4 total dice rolls. So let's see if it works. All right. So result of the roll is 3. So our first roll is 3. Our second roll is 4. Our third roll is 3. And our fourth roll is 3. And our application stops. So that's good. But you want to stop it from doing this in a more controlled fashion. So what we're going to do is, by using an if statement, we want to run the time not sleep for only the first 3 seconds. So let's try that again, except this time we're going to add a little if statement in there, right? So pretty much everything's the same. Browser, the for loop, page, tag, result, print, except this time, before we put it to sleep, we want to make sure our index is going to be less than 3. Okay. So only when it's less than 3 does it apply to time sleep. Yes? So it actually waits 10 seconds if this isn't the last request. Here it goes. So that's our first row. That's our second row. That's our third row. That's our fourth row. There was no delay, and it just went straight into it. So with techniques like these, you can scrape data from websites that periodically update their data. You should be careful, however. Requesting a page multiple times rapidly in succession can be seen as suspicious, malicious, or what have you. They could view it as a DDoS type of attack. So this method is actually really good for a lot of different ways to collect and scrape data. Okay, so in this video we covered a few topics. First, we installed and used MechanicalSoup to search web forms for data and tags. Next, we used MechanicalSoup to parse HTML data. Then we used MechanicalSoup to create a headless object, and we used that headless object to access a DICE website application. We then used MechanicalSoup to play the DICE game and read the results into the console. Finally, we created a delay and stop timer to control our web search queries, which is how we will use MechanicalSoup to check for updates periodically. So, that's it for Get On Code's My First Webscraper series. Drop a like, share this video, and throw a comment in if you want. I'm your host, the Elevated Engineer. Now, go make something cool.